Dr. Bacon. This is Morgan. She's a physical therapist. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. My primary specialty is foot and ankle. Essentially about me, I graduated from Rice University. I ran for them through both cross-country, track. I was part of the Southwest Conference Championship, the only women's Southwest Conference Championship at Rice. I was an All-American 3,000 meters. My degree was in what is formerly known as Human Performance and Health Science, is now kinesiology. I then went on to go to medical school at UT Houston. While I was in medical school, I was a personal trainer for what used to be the Q and is now 24-hour fitness. I quit running at that point in time because I ran from the age of like 12 to 21, and I just kind of got burned out and didn't want to do it anymore. Number one. Number two is obviously I'm an ultramarathoner, and I have to do everything a lot, so I didn't have the time to train when I was in medical school, so I kind of stopped. About 2 years ago I started running again, and my primary goal, I hadn't run in 8 years, was to run the San Antonio Marathon. So I went out and ran, bought a pair of running shoes and could barely run 2 miles, and came back and signed up for the San Antonio Marathon, which gave me a year to train. And so I started training again, and after a year of training, I ran the San Antonio Marathon. Like it says up there, I'm also a triathlete. I dabble in that. I've only done one triathlon. I kind of started that as a goal to do an Ironman. Like I said, I'm an orthopedic surgeon specialized in foot and ankle, which works pretty good when you run as much as I do. So I went out and I ran the San Antonio Marathon. It was a horrible, horrible experience. It was my second marathon. I ran my first marathon when I was in medical school. My 4th year of medical school, and it was horrible. I said I'd never run again, and after I ran the San Antonio Marathon, I pretty much felt the same thing. But then I signed up for Houston, and I went and ran the Houston Marathon. I ran a 3:28, which qualified me for Boston, and I decided that marathons wasn't long enough, I guess. So 3 weeks later, I went and I ran a 50-miler. So that introduced me to ultramarathons. I've completed successfully 2 50-milers, and my most recent was a 100-mile trail run in Arkansas, which was about 10 days ago. We're going to talk a little bit how to accomplish that. Obviously, as an orthopedic surgeon, I work a lot, so I work anywhere between 50 to 80 hours a week. And how do you fit that into a training schedule to be able to go run 100 miles? And I just don't run 100 miles. 100 people entered, and I was 20th overall. So that's my most recent accomplishment. So how do I do it? My philosophy, I don't have a coach. Some people do. I train myself. If I have any, questions, I call my Rice coach and just kind of bounce stuff off of him. But in general, my philosophy in training is I set goals. I always look at, if I don't have a race, it's hard for me to get motivated to do anything. So I set reasonable goals of races. Oh, wait, no, I set race goals that scare me. That's what it is. So 100 miles. I set a goal of a race, and then I start training for that based on whatever the mileage is. I don't set daily goals. I set weekly goals. The reason being, if I say I'm going to go run 5 miles today and then I don't accomplish that, then I get, it's hard mentally, and you feel like you're not going to be able to achieve what you want. So I say, okay, well, this week I'm going to run 70 miles, or I'm going to run 30 miles, or I'm going to run 50 miles. And I want to set certain goals to do during the week, meaning, I try to lift weights at least once a week. I do a lot of extra stuff in terms of, when you run ultramarathons, they're on trails, they're in the mountains, they're in the hills. We live in Houston, there's no hills. So I do a lot of treadmill work with, I use a weight vest, which I don't necessarily advise, but I do it anyway. So I set just kind of a weekly goal, and if something comes up and I have to switch my plan, then I do that. I call myself a binge runner. I run most of my miles on the weekends. During the week, it's really hard to go run every day. I don't run every day. I don't work out every day. I take a minimum of 2 days off a week. I take every Monday off, and then either Thursday or Friday, depending on just how my week progresses. I do that. The body needs time to recover. It's hard when you say, okay, I'm going to run 75 miles this week to take 2 days off. The math kind of doesn't work so well. So then you have to start talking about this summer, doing 2-a-days, running, in the morning, running at night, breaking runs up. So that's kind of how I work my schedule. I don't, during the week, like I said, most of the time I'll do a 6-mile run. That's kind of my shortest distance. And then I get to the weekend. I have a training partner that I try to train with. I also belong to a running group which is called Houston Trail Extreme that runs down on the Ho Chi Minh Trail and does trail runs. And so that's kind of my philosophy. I don't use a coach, like I said, for several reasons. One is, I find as a professional or somebody that works a schedule, to have a coach try to tell you what to do on a daily basis. He doesn't know what you do on a daily basis. And so if I go out and I feel bad, then I may just come back and, get on my roller, stretch, alter my workout based on how I feel. And, if your coach writes you a schedule and he's not there, you feel obliged to stick by it, and you're more likely to get injured. So that's why I personally don't use a coach. Some people need that motivation or need, information on how to train to get that. And that's kind of, I'd like to start, this kind of a lectureship series to maybe kind of address some of the training issues, based on my background in both as a, personal trainer and an orthopedic surgeon on when's too much, when you should stop, when listening to your body. So right now, I'm in the down season. I'm not doing much. I'm running, 3 times this week, maybe, just to kind of let my body recover. I ran my first run after 100 miles 2 days ago, and I felt like I was in the worst shape of my life. So obviously, if I, continue pushing and, make myself go, run another, do a high mileage, I might get injured. And so that's where it's important to be able to listen to your body.